Mr. Melvin Yong.
Mr. Speaker, this enforcement operation was aimed at reducing slip, trips and falls, or STFs, at workplaces, which was the leading cause of major injuries in the first half of 2022. The operation uncovered common contraventions such as STF hazards not identified during risk assessments, control measures not implemented for poorly maintained flooring, and workers wearing inadequate footwear. All these contraventions required very basic mitigations for the workers' safety. The Ministry of Manpower issued a total of 12 stop work orders, over 200 compensation fines, and close to 1,600 notices of non-compliances to 558 companies in the construction, manufacturing, transportation and storage and accommodation and food services sectors. Despite the heightened safety period and the repeated calls by the ministry, slightly more than half of the 558 companies had received penalties for workplace safety and health offences previously. These repeat workplace safety and health offenders received stiffer penalties such as higher composition fines compared to first-time offenders. Those with poor WSH performance were also inspected more regularly. So for instance, DA Engineering Private Limited, a repeat WSH offender, was issued a stop work order and fined a total of $8,000 as this enforcement operation continued to uncover multiple unsafe conditions in its workplace. The ministry recognizes that tangible improvements to unsafe workplace safety and health practices go beyond the issuance of penalties. For companies with fatal or major injuries, MOM requires them to engage external auditors to conduct a thorough review of their WSH processes and implement measures to prevent recurrence. The WSH Council has also strengthened the support for companies, especially our SMEs, who need help to improve their workplace safety and health performance and processes through StartSafe. Under the StartSafe program, SMEs have access to WSH consultants who can provide professional advice and hands-on guidance on how to identify WSH risks, implement good WSH practices, and prevent recurrence of a WSH offence.
Mr. Melvin Yong.
So I thank the SMS for his response. I have two supplementary questions. Since the introduction of the heightened safety period from 1st September this year, how many CEOs and directors were made accountable for serious workplace safety breaches, and what was the highest penalty imposed? And if the ACOP had been used to penalize any directors thus far? Two, as part of the heightened safety period measures, how many companies had volunteered for the StartSafe program, which the SMS mentioned, which I believe is offered free to companies? Are there any plans to outreach to more companies, in particular the SMEs, to take up this particular program?
I thank the member for asking about the approved code of practice for directors and CEOs that was just recently implemented on the 1st of November this year. So we're just a month into it. So prosecution typically takes time, and therefore I don't have an update specific to the ACOP. But what I can say is this. Today, under Section 48 of the Workplace Safety and Health Act, company directors as well as C-suite or senior leaders can already be prosecuted under the law for contraventions or not complying to workplace safety and health measures. So the ACOP helps us to put an added layer to put more transparency and clearer obligations on managements and boards so that they look after the workplace safety and health of their employees and workers. So I think it makes it clearer, and if needed, it makes it also clearer for prosecution, for us to prosecute them in court. But let me also give you some ideas, since you asked about what we've done so far with prosecution for board directors and senior leaders. So for example, I'll take two recent cases. One is the Director of Time, Food and Services, which was charged under Section 48 of the WISH Act. for failure to prevent the offence of the occupier. The director was fined $45,000, while the firm was fined $185,000. So we do differentiate between firms and directors. In another case, Leader National Oxygen Limited was also charged in the same section 48 of the WISH Act, ex-CEO, for failure to exercise due diligence as CEO. Now, he was fined $45,000, while the firm was fined $348,000. So these are, no, $240,000, sorry. So these are actually, actual offences which we have prosecuted under the older regime. With ACOP, I think it makes it easier for us to prosecute as the regime is a lot clearer. Specific to Start Safe, beyond, I agree with you, beyond just enforcement and penalties, I think it's also important for us to inculcate that culture and mindset of workplace safety among leaders, among businesses. So if you look at Start Safe, we've brought in about almost 140 companies, more than 140 companies, in fact, that signed up since September and October this year, since we started the heightened safety period. And this is close to 50% higher than what we typically got monthly before this. So there is indeed higher demand, but certainly if you ask me, it can still be better. And this is where I seek the help of the unions, for example, and employees and trade associations to encourage more companies, because this is fully funded by government for SMEs. And SMEs have also been shown to have a higher incidence of fatalities and major injuries this year. So I think we want to inculcate and bring more on board as much as we can. Since the launch of the ACOP as well, we've also now engaged various industry associations and companies, particularly to promote adoption of ACOP principles and measures. So what we'll be doing next is to develop online resources on the ACOP and incorporate the ACOP into BizSafe Level 1 by Q1 2023 next year. So we are going to institutionalize ACOP into our BizSafe certification programs, and therefore this, I hope, will get more firms on board as we formalize it as well. Thank you.
Melvin Yong.
So I thank the SMS for his further clarification. I'd just like to ask, we are about 3 months into the heightened safety period. Look, can the SMS share if this period and the measures has helped to improve the workplace safety situation across the various industry? And are there any plans to extend the HSP beyond 28 February 2023?
I thank the member for his follow-up question on the heightened safety period. So to recap, MOM introduced a slew of measures to strengthen WSH as part of our heightened safety period from 1st September this year to 28 February next year. So this is really to target egregious companies with serious or fatal workplace accidents. And to date, I think we've had some promising results of outcomes so far. Prior to 1st September, we were having about 4.5 fatal accidents per month on average. After heightened safety alert was implemented, we have about 2 fatal fatalities per month. So we've slowed down the momentum. I hope it continues. I think there's greater awareness among firms. But again, we should move towards zero, because every fatality is just one too much. To date, more than 30 companies were also required to engage external auditors to conduct a thorough review of their WSH processes following the issuance of stop work order during the HSP. So in addition, 2 companies, Lefong Building Service and Green Cycling, were debarred from employing new foreign workers for up to 3 months, and their CEOs had to personally account to MOM to take responsibility for rectification. So this also shows the change in posture that we are taking now to make leaders, CEOs, a lot more accountable for fatalities and major injuries in their workplaces. So under the HSP, MOM also called for mandatory safety time out to be completed by 30th September 2022, and we are enforcing it as we move along with inspections. To the member's question of whether this will be extended, HSP is still ongoing, so let's review it. The initial outcomes, as I shared, has slowed down the momentum of fatalities, so I think that's a good sign, and we hope that continues. But it's still too early to say. Let's wait till March next year, and then we'll decide after we'll see the total outcome of the whole period. Thank you.